If dreams can exist in a world like this, don't abandon them. You need to embrace all that you are. Stare fear in the face.
Shoot, muted. How the hell did I stay muted? It's not supposed to mute me, but oh well. Okay. Sorry about that. I know you can't read lips, and if you were expecting me to stream last week, that is what would have happened. So let's start over because I pulled a legal vices. Is he in the room with me? Is his ghost here? Because that's what just happened. 5 minutes of legal vices. Me talking, me talking, me talking, and nothing coming out. However, I shouldn't be muted now, Jeffrey, so shush up. So getting back to the beginning of what I was saying. So everybody's been covering and talking about Lindsay Clancy. Mo has been streaming it. Multiple other creators who I don't watch have been streaming it as well. And while this case is heartbreaking on multiple levels, it has taken over all of my social media feeds. Every social media from TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So we are going to react to some of the reels, and we are going to separate them into categories of plausible or WTF did I just watch. There are some things that I agree with and I don't agree with, and I think are questionable. However, trigger warning, because if you have not heard of the Lindsay Clancy case and have been living under a rock, this does involve the unfortunate and untimely unalivings of 3 children and a potential attempt at self-deletion. That's one of the things that does not add up to me. So some of these creators are medical health professionals or mental health professionals. There are moms who have been who have suffered postpartum mental health conditions. And then there are just the true crime creators. And then there's the comment sections of people who have come up with some wild theories, to say the least. The least. Yes, I feel like that was a Jeff move, because that's what happened all the time with him. Is he would start talking, he would talk for a good 5 minutes and not realize that he's muted. Yeah. So we aren't going to watch any actual trial coverage because this is a very touchy subject for a lot of people. And it has been very difficult for me to watch, not only because it's very frustrating from a medical professional's side, a mother motherhood side, having a child about the age of Cora, but also someone who suffered with postpartum depression and just suffers with depression and anxiety in general. So this case has sent me down a multitude of rabbit holes. And instead of deep diving down rabbit holes when I feel like absolute garbage, we are just going to do some reactions. And yes, I am back after taking some sick time. And yes, I still sound like this. Unfortunately, the bills do not agree with waiting until my voice returns to its normal annoying self. This channel and Evidence Through Motion are how I pay my bills. So I have to get back to work, even though I am not 100%. So please bear with me if I need to pause, if I need to cough, blow my nose, or try to clear my throat to not sound like a flea bag. And if you know, you know. And if you do happen to catch this stream and you are new here, I'm Heather, also known as Squid Pro Quo. I am a certified occupational therapy assistant, a certified lymphedema therapist, and a corrective exercise specialist, a semi-stay-at-home mom of a pre-K child, and a chronic pain sufferer. So this case has hit me on multiple levels, in addition to being absolutely feeling like I've been on my deathbed for the last week. So around here, we talk about everything from what's wrong with our medical system to what's wrong with our criminal justice system to everything that involves critical thinking and getting those critical thinking skills back with plenty of snark and a healthy dose of the cursey words because, you know, that's just me. I am a former sailor as well. But usually on this channel, we investigate things before we react to them. However, today we are just going to react. And I appreciate your patience with my, Yep. It does sound fine. It still feels effortful to talk. So, you know. However, before we get started, it's not in the restream chat, but I did see Ung Hung Hero coming in hot with the 20 gifted Squid Pro Quo memberships. I appreciate you so very, very much. And I am not going to name everybody that they went to because there's a lot of you, but I'm sorry, the name Two Twat Waffles, one of the best freaking account names ever. So we are going to get started. All of these are from my Facebook because that was just the easiest one to get around my oh, you've had enough reaction today. Oh no. I hope you're doing okay. Big hugs to you. I smell steak. Shush. Oh my goodness, y'all crack me up. Yep, Ung Hero keeping it green in here. All right, all these are from my Facebook page. And also we are looking at the Facebook page Legally at Law because she has, I wouldn't say debunked some of these, but she has provided the factual information behind and some of the context behind some of these reels that have been posted. And I've been keeping up with her Facebook page when I haven't had the time to watch anybody's streams. So thank you. I just got this is the third week of school around here, and I just got the back to school bug. With the exception, she is fine. She was sick for a day or two. Mr. Squid sick for a day or two. Me with my chronic health issues and the fact that I have a deviated septum and some polyps in my sinus cavity. When I get sick, it knocks me on my butt and it takes me a long time. And Roy, I'm so sorry. Hugs to you. If you are the praying type, please pray for Roy and his wife. Whether that's if you're just the positive vibes people, Roy and his wife need prayers. All right. So let's get into this first one. And Jeff, Volusia 1, I thank you. Holy goodness. Uh thank you for the Kofi. I really appreciate that. Um I really, really appreciate that. You're making me you're making me yeah, speechless. Angel, if you're gonna play with that, you have to go down because you're gonna get me copyright struck with the music, okay? Mwah, I love you. Uh no, I was born that way, I think. I'm just broken. I'm just a damaged person, okay? None of my issues are like bad enough to be like life threatening, but they sure as hell are annoying on a daily basis. From chronic joint issues to this crap that went on to yeah, I'm just broken. None of them are bad enough to be like life threatening, but add them all together and they are annoying as all get out. Baby girl, I really got to turn their volume down on you here. So, all right, we're gonna get into this first one, and this is my personal Facebook page, so please bear with me. This is one of the first ones that I want to address because I just think this is fascinating from a timeline perspective. This is one of the first things. Just I am not a nurse. I'm an occupational therapy assistant, but I have worked on acute care. I have worked with cardiac patients. Yes, ma'am. It's okay. It's okay.
What is that?
It's an email. It's okay.
Mommy, I want.
No, it's fine, baby.
No.
It's fine.
Mommy, try.
You're fine. You're fine.
Give me.
This is one of the first things I want to get into because this woman's comments just make you go, when you're watching it.
You guys don't know me. Hi, I'm Lex. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 7 years.
Oh yeah, and all of the creators that have made these videos, please go give them a follow. You can see all their names right here. They have done amazing work, and we are just commenting on their videos today. So please go give them a follow if you are on Facebook.
I've worked ICU, I've worked ER, period. This comment right here, okay? I'm a perfusionist, and none of these people can come close to cooling a patient how I can. All of this, thyroid, spinal injury, bleeding, blah, 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 means nothing to what I can do pumping 4 to 6 liters per minute of the patient's blood at 10 degrees Celsius. If you're like, Lex, this means nothing to me.
Okay, first of all, she's a perfusionist. She works in an OR. She'll go on to explain that. But she's the goat of cooling the body. If anybody knows how fast you can cool a human body, it's a perfusionist. And she literally says that you can't freaking do it.
What the fuck is a perfusionist? Let me explain. Clinical perfusionists are highly specialized people who work in the OR and they manage a patient's blood circulation and circulatory system through a machine, specifically and primarily during cardiac procedures. Heart surgery, and this is important because they manage the cardiopulmonary bypass machine. These machines do 3 things, okay? They pump your blood, they oxygenate your blood, and they're the most effective tool we have at cooling a human body. None of that matters. I trump all of that. Why is Trump capitalized? Period. Nothing can compete with me. I am the Michael Jordan of cooling, and I can't cool a patient that fast, that low. She is referencing the fact that Lindsay Clancy's body allegedly reached 82 degrees in 15 to 30 minutes. All of these medical people need to recognize that this isn't their specialty. We all have ours. This is mine, and I'm telling you, it literally can't happen as fast as they said it happened. End of story. They need to put a perfusionist on that stand. If y'all won't listen.
And that's the thing. Like, all of these, I feel like this happens in trials a lot, where when you get medical people up on the stand, they try to opine on stuff that is outside their scope of practice. They're not experts in it, but they think because they're medical health profession or medical professionals that they can all of a sudden comment on shit that they know nothing about. They're not experts in cooling the body. This person supposedly is. It's just one of those inconsistencies that doesn't add up. The average human body temperature is 98.6. Not everybody goes 98.6. Some people run hot. Some people run cold. I run cold. I'm at 97.4 all the time. 97, 98 to 82. That's a degree a minute. Like, what the hell? And it wasn't. Oh, Jesus. Hello. They can comment all they want. Yeah, but the jury believes them because they have credentials. It's why I say, never, just because I have 10 letters behind my name, never take what I say as set in stone for you. It might be great for one person and not great for the next person. But I am open to be fact-checked and to be backed up with different information or conflicting information. It's the people that have credentials that tell you that their way is the only way, or they are right just because they are a doctor or a nurse or a this or a that. Oof. Angel. Yeah, appeal to authority. And hey, Animal Vampire. Thanks for hanging out over in the Rumble jungle over there. Yep. But it's an interesting timeline. I just wanted to start with that one because, y'all, it seemed, this one was the one that seemed the most logical to me. So I have all of these, so just don't, so there is just some that I'm like, I'm weird about, where I'm like, we're going to watch. So that one's plausible. That goes in the plausible category. What about this one? Come on. If my Facebook will load.
To unalive Lindsay and one of the...
Hold on.
Hear me out. Patrick Clancy attempted to unalive Lindsay and one of the kids walked in and saw it. Cora walked in and saw it. And he knew there was no way that he could get through unaliving her without his kids ratting him out. That taking the kids' lives was never a part of the plan, but he had to follow through with it because Cora caught him and she was the oldest. Or Dawson.
That one, just starting out, a stretch too far for me. We're going to talk about Patrick and some of the things that doesn't really add up, in my opinion. I'm sure some of these creators mention it. However, the fact, him trying to unalive his wife and a child walking in and catching him, so he had to eliminate the children, is a step too far for me. I don't know about y'all. Please tell me in the comment section. Please tell me in the chat what y'all think of that. Because I only listened to about 15 to 20 seconds of each of these before I saved them. And sometimes I saved them because they said, they talked about Lindsay Clancy or they talked about Patrick.
Look at me, I'm doing something.
Angel, if you're going to play videos, you got to get down because you're going to get me copyright struck. Okay.
No pat.
Okay. Okay.
Let me take the pat.
Okay. You take both. I love you. We got a smiley face from school today with a good report from her paraprofessional. So we're allowed to have technology while mommy streams. But I'm just, I mean, this one so far goes in the what the fuck did I just watch?
They caught him trying to unalive their mother when he was going to play it off as suicide, and he had to then throw the kids in the mix because he had to clean this up and cover it up. What if all of you saying I'm just saying this because I'm a man hater? Casey Anthony is a woman. I don't support her. Never have, never will. I'm not a certified man hater to all men.
I do agree with that. Like, I can hate certain men and not hate certain others. Like Brian Koberger, can't stand him, hate him, but don't hate all men. Casey Anthony, can't stand her. That doesn't mean I'm a woman hater. I pick and choose specifically based on their actions. I don't like Patrick Clancy. However, it's so stupid how there are people just taking her side despite all the things that need to be in place for him to be the one who killed the kid. See, and that's the weird part, because if you actually look at the timeline, there are things that do not add up. And because this is Massachusetts, people are tending to put more of a corruption and skeptical eye on it because it's Massachusetts, based on Karen Reed, based on Sandra Birchmore, based on, oh my goodness, what is her name? She was the cop. I can see her face. I can see her name. And I just can't remember it right offhand. But the cop who had the baby and then she was shot by some of her cop friends because her ex-fiance is a certain thing. I can see her face, cute little blonde girl. But because of all the things that have gone down in Massachusetts over the last couple of years, people are looking at this with a more skeptical eye than they would. Also, in my humble opinion or messed up opinion, you can feel free to tell me how much you hate my opinion. People in this world, and some even doctors who specialize in mental health, want to treat mental health like they treat a broken leg. They throw medication at it and they think it's going to be fixed in like 6 to 12 weeks. And that's not the way it works. One medication, so say Heidel and I both have bipolar depression. We don't, but I'm just putting something out there that, is plausible, but not really. She could be on one medication and it works freaking amazing for her. I could go on that same medication and go absolutely crazy with side effects. And it's the same medication at the same dose. And I feel like, so not to get on her providers too bad, but I feel like that's what some of them were doing, was trying her on one thing, and when it doesn't work, they would try something else, which is kind of what you have to do. However, the prosecution is using that like she was medication shopping. And it's like, no, that's just what you have to do in mental health. So it's putting this glaring hole in, or glaring spotlight on what is happening in our mental health system, and especially how our criminal justice system treats anybody with a mental health issue. I'm not saying that if she was the one who actually killed the kids, I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve consequences for that. I am just saying there has to be a happy medium of when someone asks for help and they feel like they're not getting help somewhere and they go to another provider. That doesn't necessarily mean they're doctor shopping. That means I didn't get help and I need help. I'm going to go somewhere else where they might be able to help me. We have to get this out of our heads that just because someone goes to multiple providers does not mean necessarily that they're doctor shopping. They might be desperate. And I know because I've been there. I mean, Heidel, I'll let you take care of that one. So, but I have looked at this perspective
I mean,
a
like
little
husband
bit.
and my grandpa, and like I said, like maybe 3 or 4 others. But the rest of them, You want to know why? Because I was married to a narcissistic psychopath who, when I was in the pits of postpartum hell, taunted me too and didn't get me help, and then dangled it over my head to try to use it against me later, like Mr. Patrick. So I don't like.
And see, and that right there, so this video is split. The first part, I don't think her theory on the case is plausible. However, her perspective of being married to a narcissist, one of my best friends, her ex-husband is a raging narcissist. Not to the level of narcissistic personality disorder, but has a lot of narcissistic personality traits. Scores very high in the narcissism category of his personality. And if someone taunts you when you're sick and you're postpartum and sick and you're vulnerable, you can spot that in other people. So this is bringing up a lot of shit for a lot of people. In the sense of, when you know a narcissist when you see one. Just saying.
Patrick. It has nothing to do with me being a man hater. Patrick and his testimony and all the holes in his story are the reason I don't like Patrick. It's Patrick's fault.
This point in Patrick's testimony stopped me in my tracks because Patrick broke character. This is part 2 of Patrick's testimony, trial day 1.
Oh, I'm not watching this one because I'm not getting yeah. Anima was saying that aren't most women, when I said that hypothetical, if you and I had the same diagnosis, and he said, aren't most women bipolar, therefore our hypothetical is extremely plausible. I'll let you handle that one. And I do have the amended complaint from Lindsay Clancy and her civil case. So we will be going through that eventually. However, I wanted to react to some of these first because these things are like, but here is one that is super short, but I feel like this is all of us because this is Mr. Squid right now, which is one of the reasons that I had to go through this with you guys. Well,
Lindsay, welcome home, by the way. She didn't know what her body temperature was. 82 degrees, Justin. It was 32 degrees outside. She was roughly outside for like half an hour. Keep walking, I have more. And just wait till you hear what Kevin said about this. Yeah, because doesn't that...
I feel like that is me right now. Wherever Mr. Squid goes, I'm like, but what about this? But what about this? Did you hear about this? Hey, hon, did you hear about that? And he's like, I do not give a flying F. No, we don't have a troll. Just animal hating on women. Just kidding. And Chris, thanks for the 440 jewels. Appreciate you. It's a thing, and we're gonna do this because we're gonna get rid of the oh, come on, edit. Custom. There we go. We're going to try something different to get rid of the chat features. But I feel like that one, that's definitely plausible because that's me every day. In fact, crap like that is why when I decided to start a YouTube channel, Mr. Squid was like, go for it. You do you, boo-boo, because now I don't have to hear about that shit every day. And I'm pretty sure that happened with Mr. Mo as well. Megan Fox's husband. The vast majority of us that talk about shit that our significant others are like, don't give a shit. just a thought. Well, and that was a skit. So it was obviously she's probably not like that every day. But see, the difference is if you had that to listen to that chatterbox of a woman, you would slam your head in a car door. If a woman approaches you like that, your wife will be the one to slam some bitch's head in a car door. I'm just saying. Yeah, he was just being snarky, but it's fun. That's why I said you handle it. All right. There's so many of these. It's literally been nonstop. And when someone comes across, I'll just hit like save. So this one is weird. If Facebook will let me load it.
And I am obsessed with the Clancy trial. Do you know who bought their house? Michael Phippen bought that house. Do you know Michael?
You're gonna know Michael. I'm just saying, this is where shit gets weird. And this is where you could dive down an entire freaking rabbit hole and not come up for weeks or months because corruption is deep.
Well, let me introduce you. Michael is an experienced criminal litigator, but before he launched his criminal defense practice, Mike served as an assistant district attorney with the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office.
Plymouth County. Oh, where is Lindsay Clancy being prosecuted? Plymouth County. No, I was talking about two separate people. It was like, comma. Mr. Squid feels the same way, or I'm pretty sure Mr. Mo, comma, Mr. Fox, comma, that kind of thing. Yes, conspiracy. This is where you got to put on your tinfoil hat. But shit is just weird. And when shit is weird. Like, we got to be honest here. Shit's just weird. Oop, there we go. Let me see. Things are just weird.
And guess who charged Lindsay Clancy? The Plymouth County District Attorney's Office. But maybe he didn't work there anymore. Let's see. As you can see, this is his LinkedIn profile. That's the exact same picture. All right, and here we go. Counsel, March 2024. And he bought that property in January 2024. So you tell me, is it a conflict of interest?
This is where shit gets weird. Because is it a conflict of interest? It seems like a conflict of interest when you're buying a house from the husband or ex-husband of the person that you're prosecute. I'm just, y'all can call me a conspiracy theorist, like call me crazy, call me whatever you want, except for late for dinner. However, like shit is just bizarre. And when shit doesn't add up, I just can't put my finger on why. And this is the weird of why. Like, I just don't get it. Yes, weird doesn't mean true. Weird doesn't mean true. However, it is one of those things where if it was one or two things, coincidence maybe. However, it's when things keep piling up, where does the coincidence stop and the plausible theories begin? Oh my God, this right here. For as much as I hold my phone every day, do not fucking call me. I hate to talk on the phone. I've always hated to talk on the phone. I've hated to talk on the phone Um, 35 years ago, I hated to talk on the phone. I hated the weird dial phone. I hated cordless phones. I hated jump roping with the corded phone in the kitchen. I hated talking on the phone to my friends. I don't like talking on the phone because I can't freaking hear. I have hearing problems. I cannot talk on the phone because I can't hear. I hate talking on the phone. So when someone calls me with something that could have been handled through a text message, I get very upset. Well, here's the other thing. We'll get to the the weird part. We'll get to the Levy County of it all. Let's put it that way.
To charge a woman, and then while you're still working on that case, buy her house.
All right, class, I know it's Sunday, but
Okay, the weird part is the house wasn't ever listed for sale. Jeffrey, the house was never listed for sale. It was a Lynette Levy County situation. How did she buy the property? Who did she contact to buy the property? Who did he contact to buy the property? The property was never listed for sale, as far as we can tell. And this is where Legally at Law and YouTube, do not get mad at me. This is her page. This is her business page. So this is her contact info, but that is not me sharing any information that is not already public. That is her business. So don't come at me. So Clancy home sold in 2024. Here's what the deed shows. After seeing the discussion about the sale of that, she pulled the deed and looked at the publicly available property information. Here's what the records show. Clancy home was sold in January 24. Identifier buyers as Michael C. Phippen and Charles Phippen, and the sellers as Patrick and Lindsay Clancy. Michael Phippen is former ADA. What about the listing? Publicly available real estate histories show the home's 2018 listing and sale for $500,000. What I have not located is the corresponding 2024 MLS listing before the $675,000 transaction. And yes, that 500 to 675,000 with the 2020 to 2022 inflation, plausible. What I have not found publicly available: 2024 listing date, asking price, days on the market, MLS number, traditional listing history associated with the 2024 sale. Yeah, there does seem to be some sus with the yeah. Oh, there's more. There's more. And it's just weird. Hey Brian, how are you? I would never come at you. It's bad form. This isn't an accusations record. Those are the records in a timeline. No accusation, no conclusion, no suggestion of wrongdoing, just documenting what the public records show. Just a weird shit. It just screams very Levy County to me. Just screams Levy County to me, which is freaking bizarre. All right. So
what if her lawyer, Reddington, knows that she didn't do it, but she is so deeply convinced that she did, that he is actually using the trial to prove to her that she didn't do it? Walk with me. I have no doubt that Lindsay believes. Okay, new Lindsay Clancy theory. What if...
I mean, that's interesting. I don't think that's... I mean, that's interesting, but Jeffrey, I get it, but work with me because there's a happy medium between conspiracy theory and explaining everything away to the point where you're making excuses for people. Sometimes you just need to call bullshit what it is. If that house wasn't listed for sale yet and he contacted for a private sale while prosecuting the owner of the house, conflict of interest, bro. Whether it's shady business dealings or you're prosecuting her for nefarious reasons, covering something up, whatever, you're prosecuting someone and buying their house at the same time. Huge conflict of interest. Huge conflict of interest. And it is then any wonder why he left the prosecutor's office 3 months later. He left in March of 2024. Don't have any this is just speculation, but could there have been prosecutor's office knew it was a conflict of interest and basically told him, get up and get out. Yeah, that's the thing. It may not be illegal, but it gives the appearance of being illegal. And possession is 9/10 of the law. It's just yep. Hey, Mo Raid. And hey, Mo Raiders, we are going over the social media, specifically my Facebook feed and Facebook reels of people commenting on this trial and putting it in the plausible or what the hell did I just watch conversations. He personally bought it. The buyers you saw on the owners, the listed owners are not an LLC. The listed owners are him and Charles Phippen, which I would assume would either be a brother or who knows, a husband at this point. I don't know. You can never assume anything, especially with Massachusetts. But the buyers as Michael C. Phippen and Charles Phippen, not an LLC. So it's hinky. It's hinky. It's very hinky. All right. That one to me is like, I don't know. Nope. I don't think so. Reddington is good, but he's not that good. There's this one.
Fuck ass stupidity. I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI. I know exactly who this woman is because I worked with people just like her. And you can save this video now. Mark my words, this is going to be talked about in the Netflix documentary. I worked with people when I was...
That's interesting. We thought she was doing all of this to play to the jury, but is she doing all of this Bo stuff to play to her Netflix and get her Becky Hill 15 minutes of fame? It's an interesting conundrum. And this is where social media can be fascinating.
A crime scene investigator who would do this type of shit. And it is very clear to me that what this prosecutor is doing is trauma farming. Not only is she pandering to the jury and basically torturing Lindsay, but she is trauma farming for herself. When this case is over, you will see her on the Netflix documentary or on some TV interview getting choked up, talking about how every day when she put this bow in her hair, she remembered about sweet Cora. And every day when she took the bow out of her hair, it reminded her that she had to fight for Cora. And she's going to get a little choked up. She's going to get a little teary-eyed when she talks about it. And then she's going to talk about how people on the internet were mean to her for wearing this bow, but
she's going to talk about how Mo specifically was mean to her. I can see it now. I can totally see it now. She is going to She's totally bye-bye. You have a great day. She is totally going to yeah, this right here. Sometimes I'm convinced of that same thing. But she's going to because I don't. Because I don't. I don't. I don't have better words in my repertoire. And the word shit and the word can be used in any context. Say ass, smart ass, dumb ass, stupid ass. Like it's all about context. It's all about context. I want to see the crocodile tears. I just like so far I can only think of one female attorney that I actually like. And if I ever need a someone to bail me out of jail in Florida, I know who I'm calling. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and I had a conversation with someone the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna need a prayer and bail money and a lawyer. Oh. And hey, Snipe Hunter, how are you?
She stuck it out because she made a promise to Cora. There is no reason for a prosecutor to exploit the fact that a 5-year-old child victim liked bows. There is no point in doing this other than emotionally manipulating the jury and torturing Lindsay. And at this point, you are making a giant asshole of yourself on a national stage. It is an embarrassment, but it will be flipped later to advance this woman's victimhood. Bet my life on it. An entire...
And that's a really good take. Like, that's actually, I think that's plausible. And I had never thought about that before. I had never actually thought about that before of the Netflix documentary and that woman going around and doing her, whatever the outcome of this trial is, going and doing her press tour and getting the crocodile tears and wearing that ugly ass bow. Like, if you're gonna wear a bow, because bows, I have heard that bows are in style for 2026 for adults. However, there is a way to do it tastefully, and then there is whatever that is, because that ain't it. Girl, you'd be on an episode of What Not to Wear in 10 seconds or less. Just saying. I'm a vet. My language can get very, very colorful. Yeah. I was having a conversation with my mom the other day, and I basically said that some of her coworkers are glad that she is not going to my mom's school next year, because if they had to deal with me, if they had to deal with me, I'm hard to please. And when you piss me off, it takes a very long time to, if you mess with my family, it takes a very long time for me to ever trust you again. And, you know, so then you have the medical side of things, but this is a plot twist. We'll watch this one. You better come over to my house.
My wife killed them. This trial is for her. Like, you went hiking in Costa Rica 3 weeks after the murders, and you went with your new wife, the wife that you have now.
No, I didn't. She wasn't there.
Weird, because she wrote a review on the Costa Rican hiking tour guide and said that we have been going for the past 3 years.
And that is a legit review. She did write that review. I looked it up myself. It's one of those situations where words matter. And she wrote that review in 2025 and said that we've been going for the past 3 years, which would put it So either she lied in her review about who she went with, or he was cheating.
The same tour guide that you wrote a review on. So this was done in 2025, and then the murders happened in 2023. So she'd actually been going with you since 2022. No, the story is I moved to Manhattan 4 months after the murder, and then I met her. You were doing a lot of business trips before the murders to Manhattan, so that's weird. Also,
I mean, it's one of those things where when does too many coincidences become no longer a coincidence? This timeline going all the way back to 2022 doesn't really add up.
you Googled how to commit suicide while Lindsay was actually not in the house, and they proved that. So you were like trying to make it look like a suicide. While you were gone from the house that night, you also had her Apple Watch with you. And
That one I can't confirm because I don't see an Apple Watch. I don't know what that is that he's holding, but it doesn't look, I don't know if that's an Apple Watch. I can't confirm that. It's weird.
you were texting from her. You were caught on store surveillance with her Apple Watch in your hand. And then the text that you were receiving from Lindsay, you were sending it to yourself from the store, communicating as Lindsay while she was suffering at the home. Prove it. You already have. Now Lindsay's a paraplegic and the kids are dead. And you framed her, and you have a new wife who's pregnant, who looks just like her. So
that is creepy. I mean, that on no matter how you slice that, that's creepy. So there's some things in there that the review, was he cheating beforehand? There's no proof, but there's circumstantial evidence. Business trips, timing, Costa Rica trip, 3 years. It's, yes, this right here. But part of the reason that we're reacting to some of these things is so that we can kind of talk about this case without having to talk about the horrible people involved on either side. And mostly I'm talking about the prosecution because they're just evil people. Like, you can not like somebody and prosecute them while still remaining some sense of like they're still a human. I mean, ugh. Fake it if you don't like her. Fake it. But all you're doing is pissing off people and pissing off the judge or the jury, most likely. But here is some of the medical sides of things. And I don't know why
prescribed at least 9 psychiatric.
And I don't know why Facebook mutes these every time they start playing, but it's like, bleh.
In just over 3 months, Lindsay Clancy was prescribed at least 9 psychiatric medications. But there was one thing that wasn't there that kept jumping out at me. I went through the allegations in the wrongful death lawsuit that outlined the timeline of Lindsay Clancy's medications leading up to the date that she killed her children. Let's talk about it.
And I'm still going through that and trying to piece together. I have talked to a friend of mine who was a pharmacy tech, and I have talked to one of my best friends who is a nurse, and trying to piece together what interacts with each other. Because not only can some of these medications have side effects and you're tapering off one while going on another, but if you give your medication list to a pharmacist, they will generally say you cannot have these two medications together because they will interact with each other. I am curious to see if any of her medications interacted with each other. So I am trying to find out, and that is taking a lot of time and a lot of effort that I have wanted to sleep most of my days for the last week and a half. Like someone else I know. It's yeah. I get it, Jeffrey. I get it. But here's the thing. If she used these exercise bands all the time, why wasn't her DNA on them? If she used them to unalive the children and she used them every day or a couple times a week, your DNA is going to be on those exercise bands through sweat. Sheer touch DNA from like your sweat, your probably blood, sometimes tears are on these exercise bands. I don't know. I see what you mean. There's coincidences, but how many coincidences? You get a coincidence here and a coincidence here and a coincidence here and a coincidence here. Maybe one or two. But all of them combined. Chris Watts, for example, seemed like a family guy. No one suspected him of nothing. Turns out he was the one who unalived his children and he's currently in prison for it. So, oh my God. People that say irregardless and Spawn, if you're watching, please don't come at me. You do this shit all the time. I don't say nothing because whatever. But he says irregardless. I'm like, irregardless is not an actual freaking word. It's regardless. I'm like, ew. But
those of you who don't know me, I'm a former elementary school teacher turned post-conviction attorney, and I come on here and talk about true crime stuff, but it's not legal advice. Stop it. All right, the medication timeline. In mid-October of 2022.
So she goes into the timeline, but she brings up the timeline of the medications. The medications don't make sense to me either. No nurse is going to crush their medications unless they are told to specifically because they're having problems swallowing. It's yeah, the prosecution would argue with what time? With what time? And Jeffrey, I'm sick of sometimes I will go back and forth with you, but like you're trying to derail me on purpose and you're just trying to argue for the sake of arguing a point that we're not even trying to make. Like, yeah.
It from the Lindsay Clancy trial. But if I show you, you guys have to keep the comment section nice and we have to educate, okay?
And this is one that I sent people. This is one. Sertraline, lorazepam. And look at the dates filled. So I can't see the actual, I think that's 2/10/26. So she's on these current things now. So she's still on a bunch of freaking meds right now. But you can see all of these. And it's just by all these different prescribers. And this is another thing that this topic brings up was we don't have a specific health system in this country where everybody can talk to each other and see everybody else's records. One hospital system will use one system or one computer or EMR, and another hospital system will use another EMR. And you could be in the same city and see two different people and them not have access unless you either give them access or you specifically hand over your records. And it brings up another issue with our healthcare system. So this is another rabbit hole. This is rabbit hole number 3 that we could dive down with issues I have with this case. What is the way to fix this or make that better? Because a psych patient is generally not going to be in the headspace where they can tell you everything. And that doesn't mean that they're trying to doctor shop, pill farm. That sometimes is just the nature of their diagnosis, that they cannot tell you everything they've been on. It's not like a broken leg where I can say this date, this time, I did this. I was there. You're dealing with the brain here. It's a very, like my book right here. It's a very, like that's a 200-page book completely on one organ system. One organ. And yeah, right here. Hey, Dragon's Gravy. Yes, it has a medical release form to release your information, but that also requires it's releasing it to who? She probably put Patrick on there, but that requires Patrick to contact one doctor, get her records, give it to another doctor. That requires work from Patrick. And I'm sorry, he looks like Brian Koberger to me. I'm just saying. They have you sign a release, but that is only releasing it to authorized people. That is not releasing it to other providers. That's where the problem goes in. So like I have Mr. Squid as my, I sign a electronic medical record thing, like my dentist, so that he can get my dental records if needed. But if I go to another dentist, my current dentist can't send those records to my new dentist because they're not on that authorization form. It all goes back to HIPAA. And it's hard to, and there's so many damn systems. There is, I want to say, at least 5 to 6 that I have personally dealt with medical records. And even when, say, both medical systems use or whatever I used at the hospital, I can't even freaking remember right now. 2 different hospital systems can use that same record, but because they are under different ownership, you can have the same records and still not have access. That one gets a little confusing because there are ways that you can connect systems between hospital systems, but it's complicated and it's not as easy as you would think it would be. However, yes, Epic, thank you. Epic was what I was trying to remember the name of. It's true for most hospital systems that they aren't allowed to contact without the permission of the patient. But if you're dealing with a psych patient who's not in their right mind, just because you sign a release form doesn't mean that they automatically can consent. You're consenting to another hospital system. You're only consenting to who's ever written on that form. Oh, girl, you are not the release forms here, and not the release forms in my prior state. So, but look at all these diazepam. How many different doses of diazepam? And at what point do these medications, and I'm still working out the timeline, it is complicated and taking me forever, and it is frustrating. But it's like, it's a weird amitriptyline, trazodone, 150 milligrams, diazepam 2 milligrams, diazepam 5 milligrams, lorazepam 1 milligram. It's just a thing. If she'd authorize the records to be shared with other practices, she would have to specify which kind. I think they said she always signed releases to allow the doctors and NPs to see what she was on. Well, if she did, they didn't. So, and that's where we'll have to go through the actual civil complaint because there's a lot more information about the timeline and who communicated with who, and who didn't communicate with who, because that's where she'll present her case about, well, I told them that they could communicate and they didn't. So, and that's the other question. I feel like that's one of the first things that pissed me off about these prosecutors was they said she had so many pill bottles. She has so many pill bottles. I have 2 bottles of the same thing right now. One I have to take to, there's various stores. I know Walmart has one and the police station has one of medicine drop-offs for reasons such as this. When you have medicine, unused medicine, they have disposal places because they changed my dose. So I had just refilled. Then I had a doctor's appointment and my nurse practitioner decided we're going to change your dose. Well, then she refilled it for me at the new dose. Well, now I have an entire bottle of pills at the old dose. It's like that I can't do anything with because taking multiple of them doesn't equal the new dose. It's kind of one of those things. So I have this entire bottle of pills that I literally used for like 2 days. And now it's sitting there. I'm going to go dispose of it properly at the police station, or Walmart has a drop-off site at their pharmacy too. But where does it become she didn't do that? And now that she didn't do that, the freaking prosecution's like, she's got all these prescriptions. She was doctor shopping. No, you could have easily looked at the dates that they were filled and seen the dosing differences and used your critical thinking skills, but you're just trying to confuse the jury. Now you have old prescription bottles and new prescription bottles, and it gets confusing for the patient too, because you're like I every time, because the old one's open and I haven't separated it because I don't like to move anything because it's in a place where little one here can't get to them. So I pull down my basket and I grab the bottle and I'm like, oh crap, that's the wrong bottle, because they look the same. The pills look the same, but they're different doses. So like shit gets confusing. Even when I've been on a prescription almost my entire adult life. 22 was when I started taking prescription medications for things other than acute issues. I started my first migraine medication at 22. I've been on medications my entire life, dealt with side effects my entire life. I get why she has so many bottles, especially when you're like, this isn't working. I was on Cymbalta for a while. Not for a while, for like 4 days, and I didn't sleep for 4 days. I was in the gym at 5:30 a.m. They'd look at me, why are you in this class? Oh, because I didn't sleep. I went to bed at 11 and I woke up at 1 and I've been up ever since. So instead of just ruminating in my own self-pity, I went to the gym. It's a thing. Oh, I was a pharmacy tech 2 years before I had to stop working. That was many, many years ago. The medications is what hasn't made sense to me from the beginning. We wouldn't fill everyone. And I know that right now there's issues with like pain meds and pharmacists not filling medications that doctors prescribe for patients, especially chronic health patients. That's a whole separate rabbit hole that has nothing to do with this, that I've been trying not to deep dive down. It's not many people dispose of past prescriptions that way. Some let up just sit in their cabinet or drawer. Yeah, I can't say I've always been that way, but ever since I went and filed my first police report against Brucey Boy, and I found out they had one, and it wasn't like a judgmental thing. He was like, no, he was like, you have old prescriptions or you change doses. And I was like, oh, you're not going to judge me for doing it. Here's my old medications. We're just going to put the bottle right in there, call it a day. If you change dosage, shouldn't the pharmacy accept the previous prescription too? What do you mean by that? Because they've already filled the previous prescription, so they don't have to accept it anymore. Like, they've already filled it, so they fill it, and then all of a sudden 2 days later or whatever, they get a new prescription for the same thing, just at a different dose. So now you have 2 bottles. It's a thing. This is where shit gets weird. There's a bunch of shit that gets weird.
Clancy thing, because I thought that it was likely that she probably did it because of the lawsuit that she had before, right, where she laid out everything that happened and she tried to sue the medical system over it. I thought that that was probably true, because why would a lawyer put her in that position, right? Postpartum psychosis is a real thing, and it was well documented in her case. When a woman gives birth, all of her hormones drop by 90% in 24 hours, and if you're dealing with that in the setting of a broken body caring for 3 children, yeah, you can go a little nutty. That's a real thing. And as a labor and delivery nurse, she absolutely knew that, and she tried and tried and tried to get help for it. And so I was in the camp of she likely did it, but it wasn't really her fault because of how much help she'd tried to get. So
Jeffrey, it's not it no, I think you're misunderstanding. It's not they have a disposal, like some pharmacies and mostly all police stations have a used prescription or an unused prescription disposal box. So you take your prescription and your bottle to the police station, and they have it looks like a mailbox almost. And it is where you can dispose of your unused pills so they don't get in the hands of street pharmacists. So, it's not, I think, yeah, they're not being put back to fill. They're being disposed of, but they're being disposed of in a way that they can't, they can't end up in the hands of children or, people that aren't supposed to be taking them, if you know what I mean.
so much so that she was hospitalized for her postpartum psychosis, and then after a few days, she was deemed to be fine, no longer requiring any treatment, and they sent her home.
This is where it's interesting too. If she's in treatment and she's also all of a sudden not or not in a state of psychosis anymore, or not deemed to be, and have any issues, do you think there's a common link?
I was like, so what's going on at home that as soon as you're out of that environment, you're no longer psychotic at all? Is somebody manipulating your brain chemistry? And then it turns out
that's where this is the video I watched where I started going, well, maybe, not to mention the timeline didn't add up, but I never had thought about, well, when she was out of the house and in treatment, all of a sudden they thought she was quote unquote fine, not psychotic anymore. Was there a reason for that? If you're taken out of the environment with the person who makes you psychotic, could their marriage have been making her psychotic?
that the medication that she was given by one of her psychiatrists, Seroquel, had given her a horrible reaction. And that medication was found in her husband's truck. This husband, of course, was hardly ever home. He was coming and going on work trips to New York, and some of the pictures from these trips are featuring the woman that he is now married to.
That's another weird thing of when you're on business trips. You supposedly met this woman 4 months after moving to New York. However, she shows up in pictures from when you were on business trips while you were still married. Yeah, the number was, and 90%, like, not every woman's the same. So, like, yeah, a better way of phrasing that was a woman's hormones fluctuate a lot after giving birth.
This woman, of course, is Lindsay's freaking doppelganger, dude. And I tried to be reasonable about that too. It's like, okay, well, he has a type. I mean, I do too. Like, this is my husband, and my free passes are John Cena and Alan Richardson. Like, I have a type too. There's no proper way to grieve, right? Some men really can't be by themselves. They can't dress themselves. They can't do shit for themselves. So it's not really that strange, in theory, that he would rush into the arms of another woman who was obviously sitting there waiting at best, if they weren't already having an affair before. Even the body temperature thing was kind of up for grabs for me, because yeah, I have seen a patient that's at 82 degrees, but they were on ECMO, like fully intubated on full cardiopulmonary bypass. That's the only person I've ever seen at 82 degrees, and those people likely are not able to speak, let alone.
April saw the other lady's social media dated in 2020 with the husband's pictures in it. With the husband in pictures. See, it's shit like that. That is just, you can't say you met her 4 months after. You're lying, because there's picture evidence that you are lying. And the fact that he keeps lying about it, it's just too many. Like, why lie about that? If you were having an affair, just say you were having an affair. Like, ugh. Yeah, and honestly, I wasn't even thinking about the husband being an issue until Volusia One wrote me about the husband being an issue. Retired law enforcement sees the husband as an issue. I'm going to go, maybe there's something there. Someone who knows a hell of a lot more than I do about investigating crimes and has investigated a shit ton more crimes than me, brought to my attention that the husband's story didn't make sense. That's when I started going down some rabbit holes with some of these things. So this is circumstantial. And the problem is all we really have besides the pictures is circumstantial. However, she had a crushed thyroid. Also, the Googling of a carotid artery. No nurse, no one with a degree or a certification of any kind in healthcare would ever have to Google carotid artery. Yeah, the affair makes him look like a pig but doesn't make him guilty, but it clearly raises red flags. And I have learned where there's smoke, there's fire. And it's all avenues require investigation. And when someone has a giant ass red flag, like, oh, I'm remarried with someone that I was most likely having an affair with who looks like my ex-wife and is pregnant, and I'm starting a new family, that's a giant ass red flag to me and deserves to be investigated. It deserves to be investigated. None of this shit adds up, is what I'm trying to say. And you can only go, this shit doesn't add up, this shit doesn't add up, this shit doesn't add up to so many pieces of the state's evidence and the circumstantial shit with the husband and the house before it's like something does not. Yeah.
But only to the husband and not to the emergency responders. Yeah, that gives me a lot of pause, especially when he stood out there with her waiting for the medical professionals. And
well, here's the thing. People are saying thyroid, and I'm like, but if she tried to hang herself out a window, that would be the hyoid bone and not the thyroid. I'm wondering if people are confusing the two. Because generally in strangulations and self-deletions via the neck, your hyoid bone is crushed. that's kind of a hallmark of that issue. The one person that I know that hung themselves, I believe her hyoid bone was broken, and she only hung herself from her shower curtain rod. So you can do with that one what you will.
Didn't go in and check on the kids. That was like, yeah, right, I don't believe you. You wouldn't be patiently waiting by the person who just your own children. You would go and find them and try to bring them back to life, and he didn't. And that, I was like, you know what? That goes in the nope column. But then yesterday, the Google searches came out, and that sealed the deal for me, because on their home computer, they claim that there were searches of where is the carotid artery? How does one themselves? And as someone who's been a nurse since 2013, I can tell you right now that that was not a nurse who made those searches. You would never have to ask any medical professional, not a CNA, not an MA, nobody, where is the carotid artery, but a sailor, absolutely. The time
Hey, I take offense to that. I know where the carotid artery is. In fact, I can't get rid of my migraines via my BioWave because I'm so scared of putting a node over my carotid artery.
Doesn't add up. He moved on to a new life with rapid pace, and family annihilators do exist. I live in Colorado.
Chris Watts.
One of my coworkers was close personal friends with Chris Watts, so much so that she helped look for Shanann and the kids after that had happened. She brought him a hot dish when they were missing, and the look in Patrick's eyes is exactly the same as the one that we saw on Chris Watts' face when he was out there on the porch going, I don't know, I hope that they come home. Dead eyes are considered a clinical indicator of antisocial.
Post. They were still married. They were one happy family until that day. So, saying he parked next to the black Kia, Lindsay's car, after a restaurant, but later testimony says he went into the house but didn't know if she was home, so he looked in the drive but didn't see that. Yeah, it's so odd. Like, that shit does not add up. And like, when you can't exactly put your finger on like why you don't like somebody, but then they start talking, that's it. It's just so bizarre. But there is thousands of these videos. It's such a weird like this one.
With postpartum depression, I only have one thing I want to say about this Lindsay Clancy case, and that is Lindsay Clancy, her family, any of them may never see your comments that you make about this case online, but remember who will. Your friend who may have struggled with postpartum mental illness, your friend who may be a future parent who struggles with postpartum mental illness. They're going to see your comments, and you know what will happen? They might deem you as not a safe person to come to when they are struggling. Be aware of that.
So we will leave on that, because that is something, no matter what you think of this trial, what you think of these people, if you are online talking about this and you are talking about it talking about postpartum depression and mental health issues like they are a joke, remember those around you might have battles that you may never see, and they might deem you as someone not safe to talk to. And what happens if you're the only person that might have been their safe person to talk to if they were struggling with thoughts of, removing themselves from life? Let's put it that way. You have to think about how your words affect other people. And yes, sticks and stones may break my bones, blah, 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 whatever. We've all heard that phrase, and that's true to a point. But when you're online talking shit about people's mental health, while having people around you that might have mental health issues and you were their safe person to go to, and now you're no longer deemed a safe person and you can't figure out why they don't trust you. There's some internal words. Yeah, I know you had talked to me about the social media opinions driving you nuts, and I just couldn't help that. I don't want to watch the entire trial and go through various testimonies and break down each person's testimony, because I will throw these computer monitors off my desk with some of the mental health providers, because I've been gaslit by medical professionals in the past. And it makes me want to scream every time I hear them say something and not believing someone. Like, there is a difference between someone reaching out for help, not getting help, and being desperate. And what I saw in those my chart messages was desperate. And when her providers were like, well, she didn't say anything about being, whenever we'd ask her if she was suicidal, she said no. But yet she used the words, don't quote me because I can't remember the exact quotes, but I feel like I don't care anymore. If I were to not wake up, it wouldn't matter. I feel like I'm going to die and I don't even care. That might not be outright self-deletion, but that is losing interest in your life. That might not be outright admitting it, but those are hints. When someone says, I don't want to be here anymore, and they're not talking about home, work with you, they're talking about life in general. They might not outright say, yes, I'm going to self-delete, but that's a hint. That's your hint. Hi, baby. Okay, you want to get down? Okay, there you go. That's your hint that they're not well. So if a provider ever says, well, they never said this, but yet in the messages they literally tell you, then you need to find a new provider. Anyway, guys, yeah, and I don't know how she does what she does between this and the last trial, the Athena Strand trial. That she is a very strong woman. Even when she tells you she's not, she is. Yeah. Let me get on my soapbox. All of you who know me on YouTube says only what I choose to show you. Anyone here show me that what they want you to see. The best way is to always watch what you say. That is a very, yep. And I have permanent nerve and blood vessel damage due to a doctor not believing me. I had one arm changing colors, and he told me I was just depressed. Yeah. Oh. You should see one of the messages we got from a provider as an active acute flare-up was happening. The message was basically F off and, we're no longer seeing them, of course. Good. And never be afraid to fire your doctors, because the social justice warriors will tell you are medication seeking, but the rest of us know that your provider was just a pain in the ass and sucked at their job. And when someone sucks at their job, it's okay to find a new person. It is really okay. Anyway, on the bright side, I have to go to my other job. But Duncan, Idaho, I wanted to hit this comment up before we got out of here. This would have really bothered me before my daughter was born, but now whenever I see this case and those 3 kids, I feel physically ill, and hearing how they passed is torture. Yeah, I can't. This little one. So I have this phone charger with a lightning bolt. She was playing with it yesterday and found it funny to lay it across her body and watch it fall off the couch. And I'm like, no. And she didn't understand while I was getting mad at her, because it was falling across her phone on one side, charger on the other. It was falling across her neck. And I freaked out. And she could not understand why I got upset with her for doing that after telling her no multiple times and her not listening. I took everything away from her and she got a timeout and she could not understand why I was so upset with her. It's like, girl, that is dangerous. That is very, very dangerous. But on the bright side, we have some interesting stuff to talk about tomorrow. ETM, we are talking more fraud. We are talking hospice fraud. We are talking about taking advantage of people who think that they are in the end stage of their lives and you taking advantage of them and their families, and that pisses me off. Also, we probably will do 2 streams tomorrow, one in the morning for ETM and one in the afternoon, because I have so much content that I didn't get to cover with you guys. We have Tyler Robinson documents of his lawyers basically admitting that he was the one in the video. It seems very odd to me, some of the admissions they made. We have a Tupac trial starting today. We had a Murdaugh hearing. We also have to get back on the Murdaugh rabbit hole that we fell down with the test, or with the depositions of Mandy Matney. It's just we just have a lot to cover. We just have a lot to cover. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for hanging out with me. And thank you for putting up with my voice. It is not entirely back to normal, but I appreciate each and every one of you. And oh no. Oh no. Y'all have a great day. I will see you on the flip side. Bye. I'll say bye.